You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, Chiro Pro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 255 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Vanessa Walker, and if you want to know how to make healthy communities and healthy families, stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today we have Dr. Vanessa Walker coming in from which city?
Miramar, Florida.
All right, and Luke, where are we today?
We are in Grand Junction, Colorado today.
What episode is this, Luke?
Episode number 255.
And before we get too far into this episode 255 of Chiro Hustle podcast, we want to thank you, Dr. Vanessa, for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, the world aligned us. A lot of people don't know, but we met each other on this new app called Clubhouse.
Yes.
And now I'm using that as a resource to say, I think you'd be a great guest for our show. And you just happen to say, yeah, I'll do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Clubhouse is it. Clubhouse connected us.
So big shout out to that platform. And I'm sure we'll get more into marketing and social media as this conversation goes. But really, one of the things I'm really curious about that not a lot of people probably know is bringing you onto our show, sharing your story with our audience. You're originally from Jamaica.
Yes.
And let's tell people your chiropractic story and what really influenced you to become a chiropractor and maybe what makes you unique in the space.
Absolutely. So as you shared, I'm from Jamaica, and coming to the States, or just the passion as a child, my mom's a registered nurse. So I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. So it's my journey through trying to figure out how's that path and how I do it in the States. Because my parents weren't from here. So matriculate through high school. I went to medical magnet high school, and then I went to the University of South Florida. When I got to University of South Florida, I took a class called University Experience. It was like the first class that every freshman needed to take. I'm 17 years old, away from home for the first time. And in that class, I got a homework assignment. My homework assignment was to interview someone who's in the profession that you desire to be. And at that time, I wanted to be a sports physician. So I got into the telephone book. I'm new to Tampa, and I look up sports physician in the telephone book, and I find this telephone number. So I called the doctor. His name was Dr. Gary Jones, and I went to his office for the interview. I had a list of questions from my homework assignment, and he went through all my questions. He took his time and just answered all the stuff. And he said he was a chiropractor. And I was like, okay, whatever that is, but cool. All right. And I thought to myself, well, I got my homework assignment done, so we are good, right? So I turned in my homework assignment and I sent him a thank you note. And in that thank you note, I gave him my information, my telephone number, and he called me and he was like, Vanessa, I really like your personality when you're in the office, and I want to offer you a job, after school. And I was like, okay. Because my parents had told me that, your first semester of school, just kind of feel out how that is. Don't take on a job, so on and so forth. So I was sharing that with him also. And he was like, well, tell your mom it's not McDonald's. Like, you're in a doctor's office. So I shared it just like that to my mom. And she was like, okay, let's see. So I stayed with Dr. Jones for 4 years, my entire time at the University of South Florida. And during that time in his office, I was like, this is cool. I see athletes, I see mommies, we're seeing babies, I saw a gentleman come in on his knees from sciatica pain and, after a few visits was walking. So I was like, this is really, really cool. But I still wasn't convinced. right? I was going to the University of South Florida to become a medical doctor. And I got a scholarship to go to the University of Alabama for a summer program. And in that summer program, I had the capacity to shadow all the doctors I wanted to. So I helped with a kidney transplant with the urologist. I was in the emergency room with the doctor. I shadowed the orthopedic surgeon and was like, listen, I think this is what I want to do. And then I saw him suture a ulcer on someone's leg. And I was like, I don't know, right? And then he shared with me, hindsight, he was like, I don't know if you want to be in this profession, just for different capacities. So long story short, I was like, I really like what I've been doing in the office. Like, I really, really like what's been happening there. I mean, and to add to it, I liked his lifestyle. I was like, this is chill. Like, all the patients love him. I was like, this is it. So I went back and I told Dr. Jones that I'm going to apply to chiropractic school. He went to Texas Chiropractic, and I applied to every single chiropractic school because I didn't know the history of chiropractic. I didn't know the profession in that capacity. I just knew that I loved what I was doing in his office. So I applied. I applied to chiropractic school. At that time, Palmer, Florida was opening, and I visited Life Chiropractic. But then I'm from Florida, so I also visited Palmer Chiropractic of Florida, and that was it. That was my journey into chiropractic school. I absolutely loved my years at Palmer. I thought and I made sure that I engaged in school. So I was the campus guide. I went to all the campuses. I was at every convention, so that really submerged me into chiropractic. Yeah.
Just you hearing your story gives me chills on my arm because, like understanding that you had no idea what the profession was.
No clue.
And you just was influenced into the profession because of the leadership of a strong chiropractor in your community.
Yes. And today I look to do the same. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it now. Is now 14 years into the game. You get a chance to be a mentor.
Yes. Absolutely.
And you get a chance to be the one to rise up the next, group of chiropractic students and the next group of chiropractors into the future program.
Yes. Because it was just that. It was just a visit in his office and the care and, just having me to complete my homework assignment. When I made that phone call, he could have said no, but he said yes. And that took me directly into chiropractic. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Like, when was your first chiropractic adjustment?
It was in his office. So, of course, by Dr. Jones, and probably say 3 months after being there, because he wasn't a pusher of, like you should get adjusted or this should happen. And I was at his office one day. I had a headache and he adjusted me. And I was like, oh, that's what you've been doing to the people. I feel better. Like, I feel better, and that was my natural reaction because I didn't know, the science or what happens when you get an adjustment, but I knew I felt better. And that's all that mattered to me.
That's interesting because I got into the career of working in the chiropractic field 12 years ago as a tech. And the doc that opened up his office asked me, he's like, what do you know about chiropractic? I go, all I know is that when I get adjusted, I feel better.
That's it. I feel better.
He said, perfect.
Yeah, I feel better. Yeah. And that was it. That really, I think, so I talked to Dr. Jones now. Now Dr. Jones is retired. I think he's living in Thailand. He's just, he's living life. And I think about how that visit to his office impacts my life. Like, truly impact my life, right? To allow me to be the person who I am today. Talking about the stars align or talking about the connection here through Clubhouse, just that being in that space and in that moment absolutely changed my life.
Well, here's a little message to most people.
Yes.
And a lot of people that listen to our show, they really love what we do in the chiropractic philosophy. But it's not always about feeling better, like we both said.
Yes.
It's about healing better.
Healing better. Absolutely. We allow the body its space and time to heal itself. Absolutely. It's healing better.
Well, Luke will probably be even a good testimony to this too. Before he met me, he struggled with migraines
Constantly.
Ah, and how's that now?
I'd get at least one a week, and then since getting adjusted, I don't get any.
See, that's the power of chiropractic. That's the power of the adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not about just the feeling better, it's the healing better.
It's the healing better. Absolutely the healing better. It's the capacity to transform lives. So for Luke, it's, I don't get that headache or that migraine anymore. But what has that allowed for you to be able to do, that downtime with a headache? So truly impacting life. So when I have patients who come in the office, it's not, oh, they have sciatica. It's not, oh, they have low back pain. It's not, oh, the symptoms of what they're feeling, but changing those symptoms and changing what's happening in their spine, in turn, change their lifestyle, right? So being able to change families, because that one person is connected a bunch of people. And in that sense, we have the ability to truly change lives.
And that's what I love about our show, is because now what we're able to do is we're able to share your message and to share this chiropractic science, philosophy, art, and how it helps people with not only the trauma, but it helps them with the thoughts, and it helps them with the
toxins. Yes.
It helps them with the 3 T's.
Yeah, that's right. The 3 T's.
And when we share this message to a larger audience, people might say, wow, that one interview I saw of Dr. Vanessa now influenced me to bring my 9-year-old that struggles with migraines into the office.
Absolutely. Or their infant or their newborn, because sometimes, so I'm Webster certified, and sometimes people don't know that, they can bring their baby into the office, right? Or the mommy that's pregnant, they don't know that they can come in. So our office have, pregnant mommies that, just want to make sure that they typically come in like, I have low back pain. But us as chiropractors, it's our duty to let them know what is truly how the body is healing itself during this process. So I always say we see from neonate to geriatric in our office.
I would say we see him from cradle to grave.
That's right.
So what would you say are some mantras that you live your life by, or maybe some motivational quotes that keep you fired up?
So, one that keep me fired up, if I had to, is lift as you climb. So we were talking about, mentorship as you lift as you climb. So, talking about mentorship, I believe that as we climb, in the chiropractic, in our profession, in life, that we should make sure that we are lifting, right? So for me, maybe chiropractic students, for me, might be also other chiropractors, but being able to lift others as we climb. And another one, if I, to share, is service is the rent we pay for the space here on earth, right? And I believe we should continue to serve. Like, it should be in our bones to serve, our community, to serve people. In my office, it's not, oh, we have another patient. I know as a business owner, we got quotas, we got this, but when they walk in, I want you to know you are now a part of Walker Chiropractic Wellness Center family. And I'm going to treat you like I treat my mom on the day that I like her. Right, not the day that she's making me mad, the day that I like her. So it's that where we just got to continue to serve, and, talking about service, when I first opened my office, and if I tell you guys a story, when I opened my office, I was a novice to business, I just want to help people. That was it. It's no business plan. I was just like, I'm just going to help people. And when I opened my office, my first year, I did a backpack drive, right? So we had kids come out, we did their school physicals, we gave out backpack, and it is called a family fun day. And I thought to myself, the community that have been pouring into me for years is the community that I want to pour back into. So we just got to continue to serve people. It's the way that it transformed my life. When people say, why do you love what you do? And, what's the greatest thing about what you do is that I really get to help people. Migraine becomes not a migraine, that I get to do my homework better, that I become, more of it is just, we really get to impact life. So service is is the rent I pay to be in the space here on earth.
That's so beautiful. A lot of people that watch this show that know a little bit about my bio, I went out there and served. I did 600 spinal screenings in 2.5 years.
Wow.
And there were days where I would get up after a long, like 8-hour screening day. I'd have another one lined up the next day and another 3 lined up that week. And I would be like, and I was always chasing the goal to get 80 new patients a month. And I was just hitting as many events as I could.
You were making it happen.
Exactly. And I got 3,000 new patients in 36 months. But the cool thing is about this is that my service now helped a lot of these chiropractors grow their offices when they couldn't do it for themselves. And when I would have those rough days, Dr. Vanessa, I would tell myself a mantra: go forth and serve, go forth and serve, go forth and serve. And when I found myself to be a servant, the message and the messenger became that much easier.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to think about whether or not I was going to get paid. I didn't have to think whether or not somebody's going to like me.
Yes.
I went through and I did the work that was necessary to transition my community, which was Denver, Colorado. And I knew that the work that I was doing was helping making healthier families. By making healthier families, I was making a healthier community. And by making a healthier community, we were making a healthier city. We were making value for that office that I was representing and helping them have a healthier home family and a healthier office family.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about this family connection, is when we do what we find in our heart and we love to do that, like they always say, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's right.
So,
I don't feel like I'm working.
Service is the rent that you pay.
Yes. Yeah. So I have 2 other associates in my office, and I share with them that, it's the impact we're making on our patient's life, right? So they may come in with a bad day, but it's their bad day. We're not going to make it our bad day because it's one moment. So we think of it just like that we're truly just impacting people. And if it's just my smile today that caused that, or it's the adjustment that happens in that moment that caused that, we're going to make sure you are in here. It's an experience and you feel like you're part of what's happening. Yeah.
So how do you think the world would change if every person started seeing chiropractors and getting adjusted?
Ooh, it'd be a better place. So, as I say that lightly, I say it strongly too. Just having our system align in a space of healing, the decrease of what may happen with the addition of medication that's in excess, So I always say, if my limb is falling off, please don't take me to my chiropractor. But there's a space where our chiropractors are needed. There's that natural space of decreasing the usage of opioids, decreasing just the things that are transforming lives and deteriorating families. So if the world had more adjustments, we all be in a better place. As we talked about before, Luke, it simply said like, oh, it's a migraine. But that migraine was definitely just tearing apart your life. And I bet you it's a better space you're in now, knowing that you're not having that consistency of a migraine all the time. So that migraine for you is low back pain for someone else, So if they could have the capacity to see the chiropractors, even our service people, the veterans that can see the chiropractors compared to medication, they have that capacity to know that, they're getting healthier, they're not tearing their system. And even going beyond chiropractic, because we'll also transition in that space of medication sometimes. And it's no knock about what we need in a moment, but we transition to what's called leaky gut syndrome. We transition to other things that really just take us apart, So if we had everyone under chiropractic care, they'll have more smiles in our community today. Yeah. And just healthier people.
To follow up on that, is chiropractic is life-giving, not life-taking.
Yes.
And, when people get into that lifestyle, they just realize that they feel better when their body is tuned up.
Yes.
And that they function better. And I really believe that it is an art, and it is and chiropractors are artists.
Yes.
And when they're adjusting, they deliver the art to the patient.
Yes.
And that patient then becomes a part of that system of creation. And it's a lifetime achievement when you can create healthy generations of a family. And that is the artistic approach to what you do, is you can take somebody that was sick and suffering, like you said, the guy crawling in on his knees with sciatic pain, and getting that care. It changed the trajectory of that man's life.
Of his life, yeah.
And it's life-giving. It's not life-taking.
Yeah. Yes.
And when you're talking about the opiates, that's a very corrosive system.
Yes.
And I've never met anybody that took opiates that had a better quality of life.
Yeah.
But I have met a lot of people that got chiropractic care and their lives did improve.
Yes. I agree with that, Jim. I agree.
So we just gotta keep on, doing the right thing for the people that need it, and keep on telling them the truth about chiropractic. Otherwise, I always tell people this: if we don't tell them the truth about chiropractic, somebody else will spend a lot of money to mislead them into drugs or surgery.
Yes, true.
So we have to use our grassroots efforts, like interviews like this, to keep on sharing that knowledge with people so they can have a better chance of success with their long-term goals of being healthy.
Yes. And knowing the benefits of, chiropractic care, and knowing that, that transformation that happens in life because of chiropractic care. So absolutely, when we met on Clubhouse, I shared with you, the Chiro hustle is like, we got to make sure we hustle for the people in our community. And this platform does that, being able to have different chiropractors that come on and share about how we are and how we do in our community transcends over others, so it's making sure that the community knows what we do, that they have a capacity to get chiropractic care, and continue that education. And that's exactly what this platform does.
3 things.
Yes.
Chiropractic is safe, it's affordable, and it's effective.
Absolutely.
That's why I support chiropractors.
Yes, absolutely.
So where do you see chiropractic heading in the next 20 years or so?
In the next 20 years or so, I believe more people are going to choose their chiropractor, right? So if you have your primary care physician, you're looking for your chiropractor to be the as people are doing now, but you're looking for your chiropractor to be the doc you go to find out, where do I go next, right? As we can see with this pandemic that just happened. So for many offices that were closed outside of chiropractic, I had patients who were like, this is not what I need to come and see you. I want to make sure that I'm boosting my immune system in some capacity. So in 20 years, I see that message of chiropractic continuing to share. One thing we have to do as chiropractors is make sure that we encourage those who are coming out of school, make sure that we pour into so that we have excellent adjusters that can still continue the journey of chiropractic at a high level. So as chiropractors, we have to pour back into to make sure that our youngs are being, in the space that they need to, one. But 20 years, I believe there will be an increase in those who seek chiropractic care first.
I love that. Number one, I believe that chiropractors do the right thing.
Yes.
And if there's something that a chiropractor comes to the limitations of matter, which everybody has limitations of matter, and they some do lack adaptability. And if something is so far gone, a chiropractor is a good referral hub. Yes. And least invasive first. A chiropractor will always do least invasive care first, and then refer to somebody that needs a different type of, concierge care. And I think that when a chiropractor comes into it, they always want to do less first, because you can't take away something that you add into the body. Like when you give a chemical to the body, it's going to change the body. But a chiropractor says, let's not add anything to you. Let's see what we can fix by correcting the nervous system, by taking the pressure off that nerve, allowing the body to heal natural. If you come see me for X amount of visits and we don't see it improving, then we'll talk to my Rolodex of people that
Yes.
I can refer you out to, because
Yeah.
a chiropractor wants to see people's lives improve over time. And if it's not improving, that's when you do that reevaluation and you're like, okay, patient X, we're
That's
going to
right.
get you to this other person that is a specialist with this type of case.
Yes.
And I'm going to co-manage this now with
That's right.
them, because no matter if you're in a trauma incident, when
Mhm.
you're in trauma and if you get really banged up and they're going through like a surgery status, they still need chiropractic care because
Yes.
they'll be healing quicker.
Yes.
So chiropractic first and chiropractic second, chiropractic third. And when you do that reeval, if you realize there is a limitation to matter and adaptability, that person needs to go to the proper alignment of your referral. So I
Yeah.
do believe that chiro should be port of entry for all medical intervention, except for, like you said, if your arm's hanging off, go see somebody that can help put the arm back on.
That's right. That's right. And I totally agree. I totally agree with being the port of entry. And, so with chiropractors or, particularly in our office, it's that whole body approach. What's happening? We start with what we're doing for your spine structurally. Then we go nutritional because we need to make sure that we're supplementing that system. And we're taking a full entire approach on the system. Now, as you said, Jim, if we're doing a reevaluation and we're not getting to the space that we know we need that improvement, we're not going to continue and know that we're, at some capacity, we can get a aid in improving this person's quality of life. And that's where we co-manage. Absolutely. I co-manage with many physicians.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, The 100-Year Lifestyle, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Passive Practice Profits, BrainTap Technology, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, ChiroPro Accounting, A-Line, and Midwest Brain Health Technology. Let's hustle. And that's the responsible thing to do.
Yes.
Because in the arena of being a doctor, the definition of doctor is teacher, but also being able to understand that the ego can't be involved in the outcome of somebody's care.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know that there has to be a network of people to do the doctoring to people. And it's not just chiropractic. Like I said, sometimes people do need to have other medical intervention.
Yeah.
And that's where you sign the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm, but to refer out responsibly.
Yes.
And I think that's something, as the co-managed system is going to be something that's going to be more popular, because people don't want to have another prescription. They want to have a better quality of life, number one.
That's exactly it. They want a better quality of life, as we saw during this, as I shared about just in the pandemic. People were, how can I make sure that I'm taking care of my system, right? It's the one that they have. So I always say, if you have this system, like if you have a new car and it's your favorite car, you make sure you get a tune up on that car. That's the same capacity when it comes to our body. So people want to make sure, and I absolutely agree with us being the portal of entry coming in. Well, I do believe that now it's happening, but more so in 20 years.
So who have been your heroes on this chiropractic journey of yours? Who have been some inspirational people that you've looked up to and aspired to be like?
Well, on the chiropractic journey, I have to start with Dr. Jones. If it wasn't for Dr. Jones, chiropractic wouldn't be even in my thoughts at all. I think he just being in that space and being in his office, and it wasn't a push for, you should do this, right? He knew I was taking biomedical science. So just him being a local chiropractor that was humble enough to say, I'm going to pour into this young lady. And in turn, that just transformed. So I didn't share this, but when Dr. Jones was going to retire, I was opening my office, right? And when I was opening my office, my thought was, I'm just going to get one room together. And when I get this one room together, I will start there, adjust a few people. Once, I increase, then I'll put into the other space. When Dr. Jones was retiring, I was opening. I made a phone call to him and he said, listen, the stuff that I have in my office, I can give you for X dollar. I called my dad. We got a U-Haul. We went to Tampa and took everything out. So that connection just kept on giving in that sense, just a leader and a mentor in chiropractic. So what I thought was going to be one room when I opened my office was a full office and storage, right? I had to go put things in storage. So he probably has been the biggest impact in my chiropractic journey. Now, there's other teachers that has just really honed in on the art of chiropractic and shared those nuggets with me. Dr. Maxine Mullen, when I was going through school, I had Dr. Grand, his soul rest in peace. But I had really impactful teachers who made sure we knew the philosophy of chiropractic and being able to, it's not the sense of, as you talk about the art, not the sense of, oh, we're just adjusting, but you're really transforming life through healing, So I've just had this amazing journey through chiropractic. But those are probably three of the people who I would say lend a hand to, but especially Dr. Jones. I would be clueless about chiropractic if it wasn't for my encounter with him.
Do you have any non-chiropractic influences?
Absolutely. My parents. My mom and my dad. So my mom, as I shared before, was a nurse. And I just loved that she loved what she was doing. And I loved that, so as you say, Chiro hustle, that word hustle resonate with me because I believe my mom's a hustler, right? Even as a nurse, a healer and a hustler put together. And I think that's exactly what I've become. And then my dad is a pastor. So he has this heart of service, right? And a heart for the community. And just that heart for giving. And that combination, my parents has done so much for my family. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, So the greatest impact, if it had to be, it would be them. They're the biggest. Yeah, they're the biggest, hands down. My brother's passed away from a heart attack. He passed away when he was 21. But for me and my sister, and just and even him when he was around, even so they made sure in any way that they could, they made sure we wanted for nothing. My dad will share that he came to the United States with $50 in his pocket, and to see how he's poured into our family and the way that he's made for us, his $50 has made the world a better place for a lot of people, even with me having my office and being able to pour into others.
Well, you said some things that really inspired me. And one of the things is you can't outgive the giver.
You cannot.
And I was in a professional networking group for a while, and they have a philosophy that givers gain.
Yeah.
And there's another philosophy along that same track as if you give everybody what they ever wanted, you don't ever have to ask for anything.
Yeah.
And I think that could be said true about, your resonance with your father and your mother, and who they raised you up to become now. Is you're somebody that's in a position of influence, mm-hmm. and you can use those same deep-rooted philosophies to do the right thing, not only for yourself, but for other people. Yeah. And I love that question that we ask people, because there's so many people that curate you to become the doctor. Mm-hmm. And as Edison would say, the doctor of the future. But as we say on Chiro Hustle, we say the doctor of the present.
That's right.
And, we all have to look to where the influence comes from.
Yeah.
And you just keep on going out there and doing the right thing for your community. It's going to come back to you. And yes. I love the servant heart that you carry with you.
Yeah. So I was telling Luke when I first came on, he was like, "How's your day?" So I said, I'm actually not in the office today. And we have two associates in the office, Dr. Amilcar and Dr. Brown, who are exceptional physicians. And the other day, Dr. Amilcar shared with me that, there was this guy that came in that said he got your card from a year ago when you were at the high school doing sports physicals. And I think to myself, like a year ago, people will come back when they need you, but in that time you continue to serve. So that impact a year ago, he came looking for Dr. Walker, to get his cure now. But it's that we have to just continue to serve. The service is what allows for the gain, as you share.
And here's the thing is when you do that card drop to somebody,
yeah,
you got to take your ego out of it because you want them to come in tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
And we want them to experience miracles.
Like right now. Yes.
But we can't make decisions for them.
Yes.
You can just hold space and know that you have the credentials to serve them.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the most important thing for the chiropractic profession to kind of understand is marketing is a lifelong effort.
Yes, it absolutely is.
But when you're thinking about business, you're like, well, I put this much into this thing. I want this much out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that one life of that guy that came in a year later that now becomes the greatest referral source you guys have ever had.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And just the impact in the practice. But it's so true when you say you put that card down and you expect them to pick it up right away. And that pickup may be the use of a year later. And here it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So now as we transition into marketing, we know you're trying out Clubhouse and
yes.
What are some other ways you're marketing yourself? What have you found to work and what maybe has not worked at all?
Okay, so what has worked the best for me is word of mouth. That's the biggest. It's our internal referrals, word of mouth, just from the community and being in the community and sharing with the community and that service. I never miss a opportunity to go into a school and to share about chiropractic, and those become some of the referrals. And then I do the Facebook ads. I do the traditional things that are happening, especially now that we're not, all over the place or at an event and things like that. So I do the Facebook ads and things like that. One thing that didn't work, I would say, is when ClickFunnels first came out, everybody would reach out. I can get you patients in your office right now. If it's $1 million you want, we got it, right? So I remember reaching out to that person reached out to me, said that they can do ClickFunnels. I can get you this specific type of patient in your office, and it's going to cost that dollar. And then I had a friend of mine who communicated with them in order to say, what's the ROI, just kind of work some things through in that space. And that was a flop, a big flop. Like a flop, to the sense that he was like, no, give me another month and I'll try to figure it out there, or give me another month and I'll try to figure it out there. But yeah, so that's probably the worst experience I had. The ClickFunnels, send the ad on Facebook and expect someone to just sign up for care. I think I'm still connected to that system that he made and don't know how to disconnect myself.
Well, here's the truth of the matter. Is that marketing is something of trial and error.
Yes. And
if you didn't go out there to the schools and build that community bridge back to your office, you wouldn't realize that was your number one favorite thing to do. Yeah. And if you didn't understand the internal referral game, you wouldn't understand that that's the fuel that gets the clinic to grow.
Yeah.
And if you didn't go and do something that you didn't like and didn't turn out well, you wouldn't know that that's an area that you're not going to work in.
Yeah. So, I won't do that again.
I think a lot of people have to go out there and experience and actually put their foot in the water and to see what actually works for them.
Yeah.
I love chiropractic screening events, but I would also tell you that not all ad agencies are created equal.
They're not.
No. And it's the heart and soul of the operation behind it. And you got to find somebody that's actually a pro in that space and not somebody that's trying to run a campaign on your dollars to learn their craft.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was getting. They were learning on my craft. I mean, learning on my dollar to engage in their craft. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've been around the corners a couple times, so I know the type of people that come after chiropractors too. So marketing is one of those things that you have to go back to the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you want to get good marketer, go to somebody that's going to have a good referral to you.
Yes.
It's like finding a good chiropractor.
Yes. Yeah. So in that space of marketing, you're right. We've had the ups, we have the downs. You find some things that you can be consistent with. You find some things that aren't consistent, but holding the fire to the things that have. I've even done radio, being a co-host on a radio program. So it's those things that allow for people to hear or see about chiropractic and decide to choose our office as that place.
What would be some advice that you would give to maybe a struggling chiropractic student who's listening right now?
A struggling chiropractic student. So once I would want to know what that struggle is, but if I were to give a general overview, is enjoy the process of where you are right now. You're in school, right? Take that in, soak that in. Don't have that huge end goal desire of this is what I need to do. This is how I will be functioning in chiropractic. Enjoy the space that you're in now. And I would also say, as you're going through that journey, as we talk about marketing and social media, start branding yourself, right? You may be a student, but you can share the journey of what's happening there so that people see you now as a leader. You may be a student leader, but then that you will transition to a chiro leader, right? So start where you are and make it fun, like enjoy. I made some of the best friends when I was in chiropractic school, right? Some of the activities that we're able to do, go to other schools and engage if you have the opportunity to do that. But embrace this part of the journey because it really happens quickly. And while embracing it, bridge for the future. And that bridging could be building the brand towards your chiropractic in office or associate leader of the community.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of young chiros do what you're saying, and they hit the ground running.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I always told the older generation of chiropractors that if you don't get with the times, there's going to be a kid that comes out of chiropractic school that's been getting their skill set up on how to do Instagram and Facebook and do Facebook Lives and all that stuff. I don't even need to talk about all the other emerging platforms, but I was like, if you guys don't learn Instagram and Facebook early on in your career, there's going to be somebody coming out of school that's going to learn that stuff, and they're going to just come in and start taking the market.
Yeah.
And not to say there's competition, but there is that first 3 years of growth that you need. And if you don't go out there and do it the right way, then that fourth and fifth year could be very, very challenging.
Yes. Yes. So I would encourage them now, make use of your social media platform because a leader is a leader. Student leader transition to chiro leaders, right? So make use of that now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Should students pick schools based on geographic location?
So, I'm not sure if I'm best to answer that because I sure did, right? I was like, I'm in Florida, I'm going to Florida, but I do believe you should research the schools, right? You want to make sure that you are walking away with a great education. I believe I got the best of it. I got the best of both worlds, the sun and good education. But I do believe you want to research. It's just like any other school. If you're going to know that you're going to pay thousands into a profession, you're investing in yourself, and make sure you do your research to do that.
So what stopped you from going to Davenport, Iowa?
The ice and nothing to do, where everyone else might say differently, but no way.
So a little known fact, I grew up in Davenport, Iowa.
Did you?
I lived there for 30 years.
Listen, I was like, I'm connected to the head of chiropractic, so I don't have to go there, right? And if most don't know, Davenport is the pioneer school of chiropractic, but Palmer was their third school, or third breakaway of their school in Florida, in Port Orange, Florida.
So as we start to get to the end of this interview, our last question is, what do you like to listen to? What do you read? And what are some of your hobbies? What do you do?
Okay, so my hobby, let's start with that. My hobby, I love to travel. If I can get to travel, I definitely love to travel. That's something I absolutely like to do. When I was in clinic, I actually went to clinic abroad in Madagascar. Whole experience, right? So that was really, really cool. So what do I listen to? I listen to things that will motivate me to do, so if it's a, business, if it's, and that's listening and reading. So I do a lot of audiobooks when I have that time too. And I do a lot of handwritten books where I can get a history of someone's life, right? So my last history or reading of someone's life was a book by Malcolm X. My last reading, I'm in a wealth mastermind, and my last reading was The Psychology of Money. So I like to read things that can impact my life for growth so that I can, too, share that with others.
So where would people go if they wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing?
So on my social media handles for the office, it's at Walker Chiro FL, and that's on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then for me personally, it's at DRV Vanessa, Venessa Walker. So those are both capacities that they can. And then the office is walkerchiropracticfl.com.
And at this juncture of the interview, we always like to give you the opportunity to give us any information we didn't ask you. Is there anything we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Anything that you didn't ask. Apart from my office, I do have a nonprofit. It's called the Owen Walker Jr. Foundation. That's near and dear to my heart. My brother passed away from a heart attack when he was 21. And that we do scholarships in our community for young students just to carry on his journey in life. And as Tanika just posted, Queens of Capital, I am part of a mastermind that's called Queens of Capital. So for the last year or last 6 months, I've been investing in myself to just know more about real estate, stock market. I think there will be a transition where I can share with, even young chiros, how you can invest to get rid of that student loan, which is what I'm working on right now. And I believe it will be gone. And then outside of that, as you say, pouring back into, I mentor a lot of chiropractic students now, and I find it a passion to do that. Like, I absolutely love doing that. But my bigger passion and what will be coming is healthcare mavens in business, where I just really pour into our minority community of letting them know that I am no different a person. Like, if I can do it, you can do it, right? If I can do it, you can do it. So those are the things that I would share that we probably didn't talk about.
Well, one of my mentors, Dr. Ed Osborne, who taught Luke and I the early ropes of how to start a podcast.
Yeah.
He runs a podcast called The Chiropractic Philanthropist.
Okay.
And he would always say this: we're all more alike than we are different.
That's right. We are.
And that's a root meaning to me, because I really believe that we are more alike than we are different. And that if more people just knew that chiropractic was available to them, they wouldn't just think about it as only coming in for a car crash or a neck pain or a headache or a sciatica. They would come into it because they knew that this was going to give them a better quality of life long term.
Yeah. And that will impact their lives and their family lives. Absolutely.
Amen. Well,
that reaches us to the end of the episode. Thank you, Dr. Vanessa, for being our guest today. This was a really impactful episode.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for you guys doing what you're doing to share the message of chiropractic. I am grateful to be a part of a profession that change lives on a daily basis. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Luke.
Well, have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.